I ride my motorcycle a few times a month, never off-road, and in over 5 years, I haven't done much of any maintenance. She was a little stubborn to start up from code, and we were close to 3,000 miles since the last oil change. After this happened a couple weeks ago, I knew I had to give her some love. There's one spot, like it's gonna fall off again. I started off by warming up the bike and then taking off the skid plate so I can drain the oil. This is how the filter looks after about 3,000 miles. Then I installed a new one. Then I torqued down the drain plug. Next, I popped out the side to get to the air filter, and here's how it looks. Saturated it with some cleaning spray and then let it do its thing. Then I lifted the bike and removed the chain. Removed my rear wheel and started working on removing the sprocket. For some nuts, bolts, and specialty washers, I felt this was pretty expensive. It said that this piece you don't want to bend back and forth because it makes it weaker, but then you only need to bend up one tab. So if you reuse the piece, bend up the other tab that wasn't bent yet. There we go. There we go. Some jiggling going on. Oh, there it goes.
Not too bad.
Okay. I wasn't expecting the gasket to be so difficult to remove. A lot of it was baked on, and so I used a razor blade to get off what I could, and I was very patient and gentle. Then it wouldn't go into first gear, but I put it into second gear and the sprocket came off pretty easily. I got the same size replacement because it was recommended to replace both sprockets at the same time. And here's the first mistake I made. I didn't use a torque wrench. I was lucky enough to be able to remove the broken piece, as well as lucky enough to have the replacement bolt. I later realized this is why it wasn't going into first gear. The rod in the center came off with the case. So just remove that rod from the case and put it back in the gear before putting the case cover back on. And on comes a new gasket and reassembly. There was magnetic suction that snapped it back into place. The two longest screws had some dry thread lock on them, so I applied some new thread lock before putting them back on. And I made sure to use a torque wrench. Then I put my wheel back on so I can measure how much chain I need. So when I pull my chain as tight as possible, or just by hand, it's right here, but this is half a link. That's not gonna work. The next best thing is this one. That chain tool is the worst. Pay attention to this pin. You see how it's like, it kind of wobbles. Look at the give on this. So this never stays true. It always kind of flexes. And then secondly, there's nothing on this design that holds the chain for you. Constantly fidgeting with it. Eventually I got it to work. And now the finishing touches. Fill her up with some oil, rinse my air filter, and then I put in an order for a new one because, well, then I went to remove my spark plug and it was super loose. Put in a new one. That had to be why she had trouble starting. Then I had to find the right adjustment for my chain tensioner. 10, 20, 30, 40. I was missing a washer for the back axle and I didn't think it was a big deal, but AI said it was. So I had to order it and wait about a week for it to come in. And then the internet taught me this trick to keep the snell adjusters from spinning as I'm tightening the bolt. Then I didn't have a size 22 socket, so I put the 19 on the torque wrench here, set it to 66 pounds, and locked it off to the ground. Used a crescent wrench on the other side and basically tightened it as hard as I could until I maybe heard the torque wrench on the other side. That's as tight as I can get. Put my shifter back on and then made sure my oil level was all right. That's the line right there. Reinstalled my skid plate and fixed the torn boot here. Next, I aired up my tires. And lastly, I had to saturate my new foam filter. Let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes before reinstalling it. Just like this. That's good. Probably a little too loud for me to talk over this. I like it a lot. On my stretch there, when I was going full throttle to see the speed, I was surprised that I wasn't already in fifth. I changed to an extra gear. It was climbing 65 all the way to like 69, but very slowly. That was fast enough for me. It's not as buzzy, it's not whining as much, you know, and then that makes for a smoother ride.